Good morning and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Luke Waters Clobber and this is my co-host James Bold Finds. Together we are Bold Clobber, a podcast for UK resellers. That's whether you're full-time, part-time or just getting started on eBay, Vinted or any other reselling platform. And on this week's episode, we're going to be talking about planning for 2026, starting now. So we're about 3 weeks out from the new year, and I'll be honest, I'm not someone who usually sits down with big plans or revenue targets. This isn't really about predicting 2026 and how it's going to go. It's about really, for me, avoiding drift. So instead of focusing on sales, profit figures, we're going to be talking about the things that we can control, how we source, how we list, how business actually runs day to day. This isn't me predicting next year, it's me choosing how I want to operate. So today I'm going to be breaking down why planning now matters, how I'm thinking about inputs over outputs, and what my actual operating plan looks like going into 2026. So coffee's here in my Tops mug, of course, or cup. Let's get into it.
God, you need more than coffee to get them words out at the end there of your intro. I thought you were really struggling there. How are things, mate?
Yeah, really good, mate. Yeah. Last week we spoke about it's actually me kind of being a bit erratic with my eBay store. I kind of sat there and I got really frustrated with certain stuff. I think we were speaking about the whole return stuff, free postage, all those things that spark a lot of conversation. And yeah, since that, it's been some really interesting, because to be fair, I thought my store was just going to go to absolute crap. Yeah. And it's been a little bit up and down, but at the minute it's been going so much better than I thought it would. I'm not going to go into my store and reveal sales and stuff like that. I'm probably going to give it maybe another month or look into the new year, and then I'll maybe reveal it again to give you guys an update, because last time I did it was 11 days. But yeah, some really funny stuff that you were talking to me about just before we went live. So what's been going on with you, mate?
Yeah, it's going well, mate. Honestly, the unniching, that term you used last week, the unniching term, really stuck with me last week. And I was like, I've never heard that word, unniching yourself.
I don't think it is a word, is it?
This game so much more, man. I think for me, being passionate about doing this as well, it's very much like we spoke before, about motivation, and you have to kind of motivate yourself. And sometimes you've got to do it when you're not feeling motivated. And I'm definitely feeling that way a bit more now. We're 14 days on the consistency, which again is not a lot for a lot of people, but for me it's huge to be 14 days showing up every single day. Because I don't know about you, Luke, but I find weekends the hardest. Monday to Friday is very easy, but Saturday and Sunday it's always I go back to that 9 to 5 mentality. Monday to Friday, weekends is your weekend off. And I haven't been able to get out of that mentality to be I've got to now carry on working over the weekend. And it doesn't have to be physically working. It's just preparing more during the week so you can relax more over the weekend. And it's stuff I haven't done before. So we get to a Sunday and I'll come back from the car boot and I'll be got up early for the car boot. I've been shopping at the car boot. I've got stuff in the car. Oh, do you know what? It can all wait till Monday. Well, now it's come back from the car boot, bring all the stuff in, put all the stuff where it needs to be, and then look at things and be yeah, you need to get your 10 listings up today. And then I'll do some photos, and then I'll do some listings. So once I get into the flow of photos on a Sunday, I find it really easy to then get ahead 2 or 3 days during the week as well. But little things I've been trying is taking my laptop down the garage and just making sure I find an hour podcast or an hour YouTube video. And then say to myself, you do not leave this garage until that video is finished. So it encourages me then to do an hour's worth of photos or an hour's worth of something. And then once it ends, then I allow myself the credit to say, okay, now you can go and enjoy the rest of your Sunday. So yeah, that's been really helpful. But yeah, unleashing myself has been really fun for me. I'm really enjoying the reselling aspect again, which is good. I think that's important, to enjoy what you do.
I think we spoke about the flexibility of this. Not so much this business being true freedom, because there's no real freedom. I feel with this business is you have so much flexibility. That's the proper word to use for it, is that you can kind of control the schedule of it.
Yeah.
You put in work when you want to put in work. I think for me, just as long as the work gets done, and that's whether you do it in the dead early in the morning, say if you're part-time, say before, I don't know, the kids wake up or something like that, or you spread it out and you have the same kind of schedule every single day. But the thing is, on the weekend, you might just class that as exactly the same because you haven't got it covered. Whereas like for me, most of the time I like to get it covered because to be honest, mate, my weekends are all over the place. I don't really, when it comes to it, sometimes like I'll just say to Luce, like on a Friday, I'll be doing anything over the weekend. She knows the schedule, whereas I'm just like, I just kind of go along with it sometimes. But yeah, if I'm all over the place, I can't be worrying about, oh, I've got to get 10 listens up, 12 listens up, and then scrambling about. Say like go out for the day, come back, and then have to do that. I want to wind down and stick the footy on, or like chill out, maybe do a bit of sniping here and there. But I don't want to be like, if I've got a full day off, then yeah, maybe like it's a normal Monday to Friday, I'm coming in here. But I want that option to take it off. Because, yeah, I don't want to be working constantly all the time. I want to, when I do it though, if I've got a full day, I do kind of enjoy it, and I do feel like I'm getting ahead a little bit. It's this kind of like psychological thing. If I'm working on a Saturday or working on a Sunday, I really do feel like I'm getting ahead. But if I've lacked during the week and I'm playing catch up, for me, I don't like the feeling, or the feeling of like I have to do it.
Yeah, Mel sent me an interesting video actually, because this is Mel back from Burnout. We're very similar in our personality traits, where we're kind of like 100% all in or 99% out. And she struggles the same way I do with the constant like flow of motivation. She sent me a really interesting video, which made a lot of sense. People who struggle with that, what they do is they set a timer for 2 minutes. And they say, I'm going to do 2 minutes of this task. And then once the timer goes off, I'm good. 2 minutes are done. And then what they find, once they're into the flow of doing the task, the timer goes off for 2 minutes and they're in the flow and they just carry on doing it. So this is what I'm saying about the mindset of putting on something for an hour, to say, once this is finished for an hour, I have the option then to stop. And it's so funny, once that finishes for an hour, I'm such in the flow, I just carry on doing it anyway. So I think for me, it's starting is sometimes the hardest part. Once I'm started the task, like it feels very simple for me to do it. And we spoke again last week, where if you think about the reselling game itself, it's very simple what we have to do, in the sense of once you have the stuff, the process inside for the reselling game, I feel, is very simple. You have to do your photographs, which we can all take photographs. Then you need to create a good listing. And sometimes the listing takes time to get to where you want to be, but we can all use a PC to create a listing. And it might not be 100% perfect, but we can get something on there. So yeah, I think for me, it's the starting aspect. But I'm the same as you, mate. Weekends, I want to chill. I want to watch the football and stuff. But I find myself, I'll sit on the sofa and I'll watch an hour YouTube video on the sofa. So instead of sitting on the sofa watching an hour YouTube video, I'll go and take photos for an hour while watching a YouTube video. So it's just a little change in my mindset. But hey, look, we're only 14 days in. Christmas is coming soon. And sometimes over Christmas, you might relax a little bit, and then it's hard to get back to it in January. But I'm going to try and power through over Christmas and just keep the consistency up.
This is completely taking me off track, and I'll get to questions and stuff like that before. If you got any sort of questions related to like planning, or even like what we're talking about right now, put them in the chat. This just made me die, lads. Was that race, by the way? We might look a little bit tired, but like 8 a.m. is absolutely fine. If it's that bad.
If I had it my way when we started the podcast, I would have definitely said, like, can't we just do like a 6 a.m.?
Oh, I would. No, I think we said like gradually get earlier and earlier. I don't think it's earlier. Yeah, it is. It's funny. It makes me die. But yeah, you were saying there, like when car boot season comes around, oh my god, it's so difficult to go. For me personally, I go to Dunson, or I will be going to Dunson every single Sunday, pretty much, as when it's on, and I'm dead, mate. Like, you know me, I go to bed at like 8, half 8, like at a push 9 o'clock. So I can get up for that. I'm an early morning person. But Sunday, if there's something planned on a Sunday, I'm basically like, I have to go straight to that thing. Otherwise I crash. Like, comes around 1, 2 o'clock, I am dead. So imagine coming back on a Sunday, having, for instance, we have a listing goal. You might have a listing goal, whatever the case is. I'm like, oh, I've got to get my 12 up, got to get my 10 up, got to get my 8 up, something like that. Oh, that's, for me, no chance in hell. Like, I'm monging out. I'm so I'm football, whatever. But
that's allowing yourself to do that. And this is what I'm trying to say. Like, I used to allow myself to do that without putting the work in to allow myself to do that. And that's the biggest mistake I made. It's kind of like, what are you going on about? It's Sunday. I don't want to work every single day. Like, you don't have to work every single day. But you should have done more on Monday to Friday to allow myself after the done and carbo. Because it is like, don't get me wrong, mate, I'm the same as you. Like, the alarm's going off I think the alarm goes off just before 3 o'clock for a Dunton. and then get up, get ready, get in the car. It's like an hour and a quarter, hour and a half drive there. We're then at the boot sale sometimes till like 9, 10 in the morning. Then it's like an hour and a half drive back. So by the time we get home, it's lunchtime. And I am crashed. I'm the same as you. But then what I should tell myself is, if you haven't done the work leading up to the Sunday, get your ass down the shed. You've got to do your 10 photos. But when there's no one telling you that, it's so easy to just be lazy and just be like, oh, I can't be asked. And I was trying to work out how many times I'd done that in this year. And honestly, I reckon there's probably about, if I'm being true to myself, 80 to 90 days where I've got in the mentality of I can't be asked. And I just think to myself, okay, if I say you are doing 10 a day and we said 80, that's 800 items that I didn't list in my eBay store this year. Think about the monetary value of that stuff and think about how much more money I would have made by just doing the extra 800 items.
A lot of potential.
It's crazy when you work it out that way, because one day doesn't feel a lot, but then when you work it over a course of a year, like that's a crazy amount of money I've just wasted.
Also earlier you were saying about just, I think it was Mel or you said about doing 2 minutes and then you kind of into a task. I had this little countdown timer, and you've seen that before, and I didn't realize that I used to just put it at an hour and then like do the task, which was cool, which was good. But I heard something similar to that, where it's like, just do the task that you've been putting off for 5 minutes and then stop. And I was trying to, because I've struggled so much with this before, we spoke about different kind of workflows or mindset when it comes to the creative side, like marketing, YouTube, all that kind of stuff. And then the mundane mechanical side, which is like the eBay reselling. And I went from taking pictures and everything like that to editing, or it was vice versa. And really, like, I could not like get in the right frame of mind. And I did that. I set a timer for 5 minutes. And after literally probably 1 to 3 minutes, I'm like, I'm doing this for an hour or two. I was so in it. But it's that my brain or our brains or whatever, and like going from one completely different task to another. But when it comes to taking pictures, jumping over doing drafts, it's not that bad. But the other thing though, and for you guys out there that do any sort of, it doesn't have to be YouTube, it can just be an entirely different task. Like, let me know, do you find that almost like nigh on impossible sometimes? Because that little hack or whatever it is probably very, very simple, but just doing it for a couple of minutes and then you're like, I'm already in the flow, I might as well continue. Is
I see Reseller George is in here. He said something very interesting the other week when we were talking about stuff with getting the listings up, and he talks about part of the reason he goes live very often is because then he's kind of committed to doing the work by going live. For me, I find it so difficult when I go live to do the work because I just find I don't get any of the work done. But he's very good on his lives where he'll still interact with the chat, but you see he's still very good at getting all the work complete. So he uses like a live aspect as his accountability to get the shit done. So there's so many ways you can do it. You've got to find what works for you and your brain and your style, really. Yeah.
And I think we tried like a different style of live when it comes to researching brands. And it's so, because we've done this now for probably just over like a year and a half, and I'm very much of the aspect of like education, like, a couple of laughs here and there, and there's like a real like structure about it. But one of the main things to me especially is focusing on the chat, focusing on the questions that come in and trying to provide as much value as possible. When it comes to the more selfish side of things, which was us researching brands, because it is for us, but we use the live element for it to be accountable. But the thing is, I'm so ingrained in the focus on the chat, focus on the people talking that it's very distracting. Like, whereas this is completely, it's in amongst it. It's just part of it. Whereas that side, it's like you use it to be accountable, but then it becomes distracting. So you might as well just do it by yourself. Because I mean, you were saying it as well, because it was on your channel. You felt like you needed to focus a bit on, whereas I was kind of just like locked in doing it. But
I even said in the live, I was like, this must be so boring for people to watch, because I associate lives with like this, so where you can interact with people, you can answer questions, they can ask you questions, etc. And the conversation goes. And I know, look, Hockey, I know I take things off topic 24/7, but that's part of the joy of a podcast, where you can just jump in and out and answer things, where when you're doing like a research live, it's very much like sometimes you're just sitting there in silence, scrolling and just kind of speaking to yourself and making notes. And I think if you're watching this, you must be so bored. But the amount of people were like, no, we love this. Like, we're happy to do our work while you're doing your work. Just have someone in the background. And that's sometimes all it is. But I don't know, sometimes I feel like, oh, this must be so dull to watch.
Mate, I massively think about that every single time you go to put out like a video. I think like, who actually cares about this? Who cares that you're going live? Who cares that you're taking pictures? Who cares that you're picking your orders? Who cares what that went for? Like, who
don't care.
But that's the thing, and I've watched so many videos on it that people just like it, especially the more, I don't know, like, especially the more, like, jobs, say, like, I don't know, plumbing or electrician or something like that, where people are, like, attaching cameras to their head and just doing their day-to-day stuff, or a barista, like, making a coffee. That stuff is insanely popular. So you might not think that it's anything, and I still don't now, but there are people out there that really want to watch it. So, yeah, that made me, especially when it comes to that, because when we was doing the research, I'm thinking there's no chance people are actually sitting there following this or actually like this on in the background. But Scottish Seller just put it there. And I'm going to get back to previous questions. I don't like to jump, but when it's completely relevant to what I'm saying, most people just like background noise. 90% of the videos I watch, I don't see any of the video. It's like a podcast to me. And I think that's why, and I've said it to you as well, that I'm really keen on attaching a camera to me, because audio. So when I'm picking orders, when I'm at car booths, everything like that, I'm talking about everything that I'm seeing. For those people that are not just like with their phones, or I know a lot of people use telly now for YouTube, but for those people that just stick you in their pocket and just listen, like this, it's massive.
Yeah, I think sometimes what you're saying there with regards to, I think the TV aspect is slightly different, and TV is actually now the most popular way that people watch YouTube. And I think with the TV, that is when you are sitting down and watching. So, like, I think about the reselling content, like a car boot video, I would sit down and watch it because you want to see what people are picking up. But something like this, there's no way I'm having us on the big screen. And if you do, thanks for watching us. But I'd be having us on in the background while I'm doing a task. So, yeah, it makes sense. Different content for different things.
Absolutely. So this chat is pretty much going to be based around goals. Now, we're literally like 3 weeks away from 2026, which feels early. Definitely will feel early to some of you. Some of you might not plan at all. And to be honest, I'm not usually a big like planning session or anything like that, or building like the so-called perfect plan. I mentioned in the intro, it's kind of like about me just avoiding the drift, which is basically like me drifting into 2026, same old stuff. Not that I'm completely disappointed with where I'm at, where I'm kind of going. I just want, I figured a few things out, or I say I figured a few things out. I've just been tweaking a lot over the past like month or so. And then with the new unit, and I'm starting to see things like blossom a little bit, and I can kind of see where things could potentially go. I don't want to just kind of coast. So I'm going to put a little banner in, because I don't do too many banners. But are you planning for 2026 now? Like, and if so, let me know some of the plans, how you plan, all that kind of stuff. I'd like to know what you guys look at, because why has it gone off? Oh, it's got a 10-second thing on it. Oh, well, that's annoying.
Well, why have we got a 10-second thing? Amateur hour here, guys.
I don't know. Anyway.
Oh, well, they get the idea.
Let me know about if it's more of like a revenue, a profit thing, because when I say planning to you, it might mean something completely different to planning to me. And I initially, in my head, I go towards that revenue, I go towards that profit. We were speaking a little bit about it last night, weren't we? And I used to go there, and now I'm like, it's like picking, oh, I want 10,000 subscribers or something like that. I want to do 500K in turnover. It's like, what, to me now, the way that I see it is, what do I need to do in order? It's like that target, but work backwards kind of thing. And then what do I need to do? How many car boots do I need to go to? How many items do I need to list? Doing that, then working backwards. But still, I don't have a revenue target, mate. So when I say targets for you and plans for you for 2026, how do you look at that, James?
Yeah, I think it's very much, you described it perfectly. And I was doing a lot yesterday with regards to setting out some goals and targets for next year. And I'm one of the people who always sets targets, and then by the end of January, I kind of forget about what I spoke about and what I said. But this year, it's very much, I said to you before the podcast, I'm just thinking about net. Everything in my head is net, because that is the most important number to me. So I've set myself a very lofty target. And do I think I'm going to hit the target? I want to say yes, but deep down, I don't think I am. It's a real stretch to what I'm doing right now. But in my head, I'm thinking, if I set myself a lower target, lower goal, it might not keep me motivated. Where if I set myself some crazy number, which I have, and I don't mind sharing it on the podcast, I'm not going to be probably talking about it much, but I've set myself a goal next year to earn 90,000 net, which right now on paper, I am nowhere near that. And using like ChatGPT, it's broke down exactly what the world looks like. It's not an easy goal, but even if we can get to 60, 70 net, I'd be over the moon, and that would be a terrific year for me. But I need to push myself next year. I can't just coast. And the way I describe it is, I feel like with my reseller journey, I was really obsessed. And then this year, I probably become not obsessed and didn't really care. But I need to go back now to being like completely obsessed with making money. And I need to become an absolute beast. And that's what I want to do. So we set the goal for 90K. That's going to be across YouTube, other incomes, reselling, other incomes, and YouTube across the three. YouTube only makes up, I think, 6 or 8K of that number as well. So we need to push YouTube harder. There's things I need to change within the reselling channel for YouTube to push out more and to get more views. So that's going to be coming. And the truth of it is, when I started the channel as a everything seller, unniched seller, the car boot videos used to get, after a week, 8 to 12K in views. And then when I niched down into a clothing seller, we went to 1 to 2K views. So I'm hoping by unniching, it's going to make the car boot content more interesting for current subscribers, but also attract a new audience of people. So that's going to be coming in the new year, more car boot focused videos. The challenge video is going to continue, but that's probably all that is going to be on my reselling channel now. The walk and talks now and again, but it's not going to be a commitment. But I want to move away from like the education side of YouTube for eBay. I'm no eBay guru. I'm no expert. So I want to move away from the videos of teaching people how to do it. Because honestly, there's so many people out there who are teaching people who are levels above where I am. So I want to just listen to what they've got to say and learn from them. And I just want to put out more of like an entertainment feel on the channel. So that's going to be a change for the channel next year. The crime channel is so like up and down. And this comes back to the consistency again. Luke, move your mic away from the thing. It's doing that echo thing again. That's it. It's so up and down, but that comes down to consistency. So yeah, the word next year for me is consistency. And then on the personal level, I mentioned the walk and talk. We're starting our IVF journey next year. So that's going to be really exciting. And fingers crossed by the end of the year, we'll have some good news with regards to pregnancy, touch wood. And if that's the case, 90K needs to be achieved, because I want to have money stacked in the bank where I'm not having sleepless nights about how am I going to afford milk or formula, whatever stuff you need to buy for kids. I don't even know. Got all this to learn. So yeah, I don't want to be having sleepless nights and be worried about money. That's one thing I don't want to worry about anymore. So yeah, I've got lofty goals. On paper, I look at the numbers I need to achieve every single day net. And right now I'm like, shit. But it gradually builds up. And using chat, I've come up with a plan where Q1 looks like one thing, Q2 looks like another thing, and then Q3 looks like something else in Q4. So it's going to be a constant growth. But I just look back at the 800 items I didn't list this year and what 800 extra items would look like in the store. So yeah, there's my goals. I'm not going to be doing a breakdown every month on where we are. I'm just going to hold my feet to the fire, be accountable to myself. I saw someone earlier put about an accountability partner. I've been there, done that, got the t-shirt with that. Trouble is, I'm not a good accountability partner the other way. And sometimes you're accountable with each other. And we've tried it, me and Luke, with YouTube. And for the first 2 or 3 weeks, you're both on each other's case. But then Luke will say, I've got so much going on. Or I will say, I'm not in the mood. And then we give each other too much grace to be like, oh, okay. Because I can't force Luke to record a video. He can't force me to do my listings. So for me, I've just got to, my accountability partner is I don't want to be stressed about money. That's the biggest accountability partner for me. And every time I think about not doing something now, I will be saying, you're going to have a sleepless night because you're scared of paying the bills.
Yeah, I think the whole accountability part, we tried it before, and I completely get it, 100% get it. I think for me, in theory, it worked better if I was accountability partner with someone I didn't know at all, and then I could be maybe like a little bit more harsh on them. But there's been so many like personal things that maybe we haven't gone into so much that have come up, especially like me, you and Simon, we're pretty close. We've all had a lot of stuff going on this year where it's just like you just couldn't do the thing that you said that you was going to do. Not a cop out or anything like that. It's just difficult. So
it is a cop out though. That's the way I'm looking at it now, because I am full of making excuses for myself. Like, it's a cop out. And I said this to Leanne yesterday because I talked about my numbers with her, and she says, "But what about the days where like you're feeling like shit? So what about the days where you wake up and you're not well? What about the days where you wake up and like you're feeling just really low and flat, and you say to yourself like, I can't be asked?" And I said, they're the days where I need to get out of my own head and just say, yeah, you can't be asked, but go and do 10 photos, go and do 20 photos, go and do 20 listings, get out of the house and go and walk the charity shops if you need to, go on Vinted and source double the amount, even if you have to lie in bed on them days and just source on Vinted. But I need to get out of the mindset of can't be asked is not an option. And I've allowed myself that too much in the last year.
I think I'm going to backtrack. I'm going to stick with the questions around maybe even like James's goal or goals in general at the minute, and then stuff that came in earlier. I'm going to go back towards that. But mate, it's a huge goal. I mean, I spoke to you about it. Like, it's massive. I genuinely think it's huge. And the good thing is as well, whether it's good or not, you've got split streams as well. So are you looking to, because you've got the 90K or whatever that you're looking to go, so you're going to be increasing eBay. You're also going to have Vinted within that. You're also going to have YouTube within that. And then you've got other stuff outside that as well. So is it a case of like picking everything up? It's not like the kind of 90 or that goal is pure like eBay.
No. So the split is, I think it's 90% eBay Vinted, 10% YouTube is I think what I've got the split for. So I think it's 9K on YouTube, which is again a lofty goal for 9K on YouTube. But it's not going to be an easy task, you know, straight away in January. And the good thing with ChatGPT, I know some people have said like you need to break it down into smaller chunks and stuff. Chat has done that for me. I'm just trying to I wish I had this prepared.
You sent me over like
that was for 60K. That's different.
Well, anyway, there was it was a nice little grid. It was a nice little table, and I'm guessing you can just say to chat like, figure this out. Sometimes it will put it in a table automatically, or maybe you said to it, can you put it in a table and break it down? That kind of stuff is wicked. Because when I saw that, I was like, oh, you can actually see what it kind of looks like. And I'm going to bring up Josh's question as well, because this is where my head goes into what does the standard day look. And to be fair, you might just turn around and say, look, I've just picked a huge number to give me motivation. If I fall short of it, I've had an unbelievable year. And that might be the thing. But whereas kind of my head goes to what the hell does that look like? Because even for me, getting that net is basically like near enough like doubling. Yeah. So like, but that's for me thinking about, because I only have teeny weeny bit from YouTube and then like this from like eBay. So like, it's for me, it will look totally different to you.
Yeah, Josh is spot on, because sometimes if you say, like, for many years now, I've said I want it 100K in sales to get into the 100K call within the group, and I want to hit 100K because it's always very much like 100K is like for a lot of people the goal and stuff. But the reason I've done 90K net, which you said yesterday, you do understand that is, I don't even know the number you told me.
It's gigantic in terms of, but then again, it's like I understand people have different margins and stuff like that. It's like, it's a lot, but
yeah, it's when I broke down the output and I realized that actually, I think by unleashing myself, the margins are going to be so much better for me, is the way I looked at it. And chat does break it all down onto quarter by quarter. And as I said at the start, do I think I'm going to hit 90K net? Like, probably not. Well, that's the truth. But if I don't push myself to go for something, I've got nothing to go to. And I know what Josh is saying there. Is there also a danger of setting yourself up to fail? Absolutely. Like, do I expect to fail on this? Probably. But I reckon I'll be in such a better position than I am this year. But what happens if I could even finish the year on 60K net? Like, that is so much more than what I'm earning right now. What happens if it's 70K? What happens if it's 80K? I don't know. And 90K net is a crazy target. But I need to stretch myself, because right now I am just coasting. And there is so much more potential in me. I can feel it, that I'm just not giving to the business. And someone said to me the other day, like, how much more time do you have? I have so much time that I waste. I can't explain how much time I waste. I got up this morning at 6 o'clock, and before the podcast, all my listings are done. Now, what have I got to do today? I've got to source. So effectively, I've got the rest of the day today to source. The plan next year with YouTube is to have it done before the eBay work gets done. So it's going to be getting up earlier. It's going to be doing the YouTube stuff first of all in the morning. So eBay will start probably at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. So even if we started at 9 o'clock in the morning and I've got stuff to photograph and list, like, I believe I can still be done by 11. That allows me the rest of the day. I just feel like I'm not pushing myself anywhere near as much. And if I don't set myself this crazy number, then I'm never going to get to anywhere where I need to be. And if I can hit 90K net, which, as I say, like, who knows? I don't think I will, but I've got to push myself. My life will change. Like, I will be in a different headspace. My business will be in a different place. And financially, my God, we would never stress.
I think the important thing for me as well is even just looking over this past week or two. So I was diving into it. And if you was in the last podcast from last week, if not, please do check it out, because I literally flipped my entire eBay business. And when I focused on the returns process, or going from free returns to paid returns, free postage, all that kind of stuff, I'm learning a little bit. But the thing is that, like, regardless of all that, that's flicking a switch. That's not really building like a habit. So over the past like 2 weeks now, I've been having the habits of, like, I'm promoting stuff as soon as I list it, giving it a delay, and then promoting it at a certain point. If you're interested in that, because it took me like an hour, 2 hours to figure it out, speaking to my eBay rep and everything like that, because if you sell similar like me, you bring in all of your kind of everything from the listing that you're selling similar from. And I didn't like that. I wanted to bring it all in, but I didn't want it promoting automatically. So but basically the moral of the story is like building those habits now. And for say like James here talking about, big crazy goal stuff like that, these habits are going to be crucial. So this, like, rather than say like the time wasted or getting up later, building the habits of getting up earlier, cracking on with your eBay stuff, because the listings are gonna jump, everything's gonna jump, the videos are gonna be coming out. So it's a lot, mate. So do you think about those habits that you need to kind of develop? And that's why I think planning now, if you're thinking about 2026, I know the whole like new year, new me BS and all that kind of stuff, but I genuinely think if you start building habits, even from now to like, and then 2-3 weeks time, it's going to be ingrained, because it feels like that for me. Just for these,
I don't think for me it's habits though. I don't think it's habits. It's consistency. It's the only thing I lack. It's consistency. The habits are all the same. Think about what we do every single day for eBay. It's the same. It's just the consistency of doing the same. That's where I really struggle hard. And like I said, it's 90K net across everything. It's 81K with eBay and Vinted. So I'm allowing 9K for other revenue streams. And if, for instance, touch wood, the crime channel blows up, like, that might bring in 15, 20K net. The good thing about YouTube is that everything you earn is net. There's no cost of goods for YouTube. There's no fees with YouTube. But, well, YouTube take their money before it lands in your bank account anyway. But if it ever lands in your bank account, there's no cost of goods to that as well.
I was thinking about that a lot.
And there's other revenues as well. That's stuff that I don't ever speak about to anyone. So we're looking at 81K net on eBay and Vinted. And yeah, I'm going to push hard for it. But that's me. This is why sometimes I don't like putting numbers out live on podcast, because some people are going like, he's lost his fucking mind, and I'd probably be the same.
I even said, I think you've lost your, not you've lost your mind. I said, I know it is crazy. I know, because I see these.
And do you know what? Maybe I have, but this is next year is going to be the year that I just take all of the noises out of my head and just focus on the goal, and that's it.
Yeah, and there will be questions, say like this or whatever, but I'm going to kind of move on a little bit.
I don't mind the questions, but the trouble what I've done before is I've listened to other people doubt me, and I've doubted myself. And I've also listened to people say like, oh, you're not pushing yourself hard enough, or you're pushing yourself too hard, or you're doing this right, or you're doing this wrong. Like, I'm just focusing on what I believe I can achieve if I put effort in. I've got 4 years experience doing reselling. So it's not like I'm just started reselling. The difficult thing, the thing I've let myself down before is I'm not putting the effort in. So what happens with my 4 years of experience if I put effort in? That's the way I look at it. It's a crazy number, don't get me wrong. And, you know, I knew when I mentioned it today that there would be like questions about the number, and I get it. But it's not going to stop me trying.
Scottish Seller, Bolfine's recent video has made me want to double my revenue this year. I've only done this for 3 months and I'm enjoying the freedom. Loving your recent videos. And then I'm just going to go to some of the more recent stuff. James, having a big goal is great, but I'd break it down into quarters, and something achievable after 3 months hitting a target will push you so much. Type of people need to drive to continue hard. So do you kind of like break it down, or are you just literally like a big goal? Let's just
no. It's as I say, like I know some people aren't like for ChatGPT and other things, but the good thing about Chat is it broke it down for me on not just a monthly basis, but a quarterly basis. And it broke down with regards to what the average ASP needs to look like, how many need to list a day, how many need to sell a day, and other factors as well that come into it. Now, the hardest thing that ChatGPT can't work out is your cost of goods, because you are going to vary with cost of goods as well. So that's where it's difficult, where people are saying, what does the gross look like on that? I can't give the exact figure right now, because cost of goods are going to play a huge part into it. For instance, if I'm picking everything up for £1 and selling it for £100, that's a different conversation compared to if you're paying £50 to sell it for £60, you know? So that's where it's going to be more difficult to work out that number, which is why I really want to focus on that net number. Because that net number for me is the only important number. I don't care if I go to if I go to an eBay event and someone gets their phone out and says, look at my 90 day or look at my year to date, and it's 500K. It doesn't do anything to me. If they say, oh yeah, look, I've done 500K in sales and my profit is 130K, like I think about 130K and I'm like, that's amazing. But you don't know the full story behind that. It's very much like I could show you my, I don't mind sharing it now. Like my year to date right now is just under 50K. But my cost of goods might have been 0. So does that mean I've had a good year or a bad year? It means I've had a pretty good year, I feel. But my cost of goods could also be £47,500, which means, guess what? I've lost money probably. So it doesn't mean anything to me, that number, which is why I really just want to focus on that net number. And that's why even today, when I broke it down, I worked out with regards to the golf clubs that I've been selling. And obviously Vinted is all net. And then eBay, I don't just look at, oh, this golf bag sold for £60. I'm going into all the details and I'm like, actually, it sold for £48.42. Because that's how much money is back in my pocket. So yeah, that's going to be my focus this year, is just thinking about that net figure.
Yeah, that's pretty much like the only thing I think about, because there's so many, like when people, the whole like 90-day thing and the revenue and the gross and all that kind of stuff, like it literally does mean nothing. Like you're saying, you could get all your stuff for nothing, or you could pay absolutely through the roof. It's like we was talking about an FBA seller, I think last night, and absolutely spend a fortune. I mean, like crazy amounts on stock. Revenue is crazy, but the profit was fairly slim. So it's
Yeah.
like, is it worth it? I know it's fairly like all you got to do is send it into the distribution center and all that kind of stuff. We was like, maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
I think as he won't mind me speaking about it, but he does it as a side hustle alongside a full-time job.
exactly.
And yeah, he's made nearly 18 grand this year, like profit, but his sales was like £125,000. And I look at that and I'm like, whoa, I would hate to sell £125,000 on eBay and make 17,000. Like that would not be good for me. But the pros and cons are he does it as a side hustle and he just goes and sources stock, puts it in boxes, sends it all to Amazon, and his work is done. So I think for like a 17, 18 grand side hustle, it's good. But again, you've got to have the deep pockets to go and buy that amount of stock. Because sometimes he'll go out and he'll spend like £2,000 on stock to send it to Amazon, like without thinking about it. But then he's got the full-time job, which can afford him the money to spend on stock. So yeah, there's pros and cons to it.
Yeah, this is kind of along that path, I guess. Also, name is sick, by the way. Vicar of Pallet Town. Love that. Have you considered a part-time job to top the money up? My theory is it should push me more with my online business, retail, flexible driving job, 16 hours a week. Now, I had a separate business on the side, so I wasn't exactly. It was kind of like a part-time job within me, kind of thing. That's the way that I kind of think about it. But also Simon, who I think is in the chat now, he had a part-time job, and I've seen this is just from like his perspective. When he actually came away from that and he put everything into this exploded for him. So I don't think for me personally, getting a part-time job, or do you think about this in a different way? Do you think it would push you to then put the hours into? I mean, for me, that seems a bit like I just don't think that would work for me at all.
I feel we have a part-time job, and that's the truth. YouTube's a part-time job, is the way I look at it. YouTube's a different entity completely to. You know what it is? I think with YouTube, because a lot of the people that we know who do reselling YouTube channels. So a lot of people see it as just part of their eBay business kind of thing. But YouTube is a part-time stroke, another full-time job as well. Now, have I considered getting a part-time job to like boost the money up and to allow me more money to put within the business? Absolutely, I thought about that. I thought even about getting like a part-time job at Tesco's, like overnight, and doing like the 10 p.m. till 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m. like shelf stacking shift just to get more money within the business. But then I also think about the knock-on effect to that. And you mentioned Simon, and that sums it up perfectly. It's okay saying like do an extra 16 hours a week, like driving and stuff, and it makes perfect sense. But what knock-on effect does that have then to you and like your eBay store? Because if I was to do an overnight shift at Tesco's 3 or 4 times a week, that means again at 5 o'clock in the morning, that means then I need to sleep. You wake up feeling a bit flat, like, oh, I've been working all night, and then you've got to go and do your eBay stuff, and you've got to go and do the YouTube stuff, and then you're back in Tesco's at 10 o'clock at night for your next shift. So, yeah, there's pros and cons to it for sure. But I think you've got to do what you've got to do. If I get to the point of where I'm not making enough money, I'll have to go and get a part-time job. That's the fact.
I understand the theory, mate. Like of the whole, you've got limited hours, therefore you only got a block of like 3 or 4 hours, so you need to do pretty much all your work within that time, or when you come back, etc., etc. I understand that. Good morning, folks. Me and my 1-year-old are watching this week. Train him up, get him on the pictures.
Is that the youngest person who watches the podcast?
Things so.
Amazing. Yeah, he's old enough to do pictures now, surely.
Oh, mate, I'd get him on the listings. Jesus Christ, I can't stand it. Do you two ever list on your phone, or do you always list on your computer? And if so, why? I don't think I've ever. Maybe for like Luce, if I was snapping a few pictures and then putting something up on her eBay, but I don't think I must have done in the beginning, but not for many years.
Yeah, I used to list on my phone a little bit, but it was mainly a case of I would do the drafts. I used to work really backwards. I would do the draft on the PC, and then I would take the photos on my phone, and then I'd use the phone to upload them onto the draft I've created. But it used to take so long. Like I used to find that you load in the photos and they would just spin for ages before each one loaded in, and it would take me so long. So yeah, I'm team computer for sure.
Mike, good to have you here, mate. I've evolved from eBay to now running a brand on Etsy. Yeah, I always have on in the morning while making orders. Can't get the reselling out of me. You have a wide variety of talks. Yeah, with Etsy, do you know many people that sell on Etsy? I know we're going a bit off topic. This is going back to chat from earlier on, but do you know anyone that sells on there, as in clothing as well, or just anything in general?
I don't know. Well, I'm going back like 2 years ago now. I think they only let people who like made their own product to like crafty kind of stuff. I didn't think you could sell clothing. It might have changed, but no. To answer your question, I don't know anyone.
I'd love to work less and make more. That would be amazing. I currently work in about 24 hours a week, and even that's a bit too much for me. Yeah, imagine that. I always think like, am I dialed in enough to kind of like chill a little bit? But I mean, tell the truth, I don't know. I do enjoy this as well. So like, I don't mind it. It's not like a massive drag. It's only a drag really on the weekend. Like I was talking about earlier. If I come back from a car boot and I'm like, oh no, I can't be doing pictures and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, dream life.
Yeah, I think this year as well, part of my focus has been with like my own health journey. I think that's took a lot of my focus away from like the money side and making money. Because this year, honestly, for me, making money has been on not the back burner, but it's not been my main focus and priority. So I think that's probably why I'm feeling probably a bit more engaged, a bit more locked in now, in the sense of like yeah, Simon talks about it all the time, about being obsessed. And I used to always, someone won't mind me saying, you always look at it and be like, why why are you so obsessed? Like, why, like, it's all you think about is making money. I don't get it. Like, I couldn't work it out. Now I'm slowly coming to the realization of why he's like that with the obsession. And I need to get a bit of that in my world where I wake up and I think about where the money's coming from today. Like, here's an example. Yeah, you get to 2-3 in the afternoon and eBay's slow. And how many times have we all said that eBay's slow today, or eBay's been a bit shit? You look at your numbers, you're like, I've only made 2 sales on eBay. I mean, some people probably like, I'm up to like 500 sales at that point. But instead of me just looking at my phone at 2 p.m. and being eBay slow, I'm going to get my ass in the car and go and buy some stuff to list on eBay. Or I'm going to go on Facebook Marketplace and find a bloody Bose sound system for £5 that I found yesterday that I know I can make 80 quid on. And if I have to drive to Tunbridge Wells to go and pick it up, I'll drive to Tunbridge Wells to go and pick it up. Like, that's where my mentality is going to change. Instead of going, it's slow, eBay's dead, this is not good, how am I going to... It's like, no, get off your ass and go and make money. And that's where my head's at right now.
Yeah, Shel Saruni, morning, all best of luck, James. I'm sure 2026 will be a year for you and Leanne. I'm pretty sure it will be as well. I hope so. Dan Vintage, with your 90k total target for 2026. After everything washes out, how much would you hope to finish up with for 90k?
That's 90k net. I pay myself. It works out around 32,000 a year. That's what I pay myself. And that's not, believe me, that's not luxury either. That's just to survive, pay the mortgage, pay the bills, live.
Nick, pre-love pickers, I have to get my listings time down next year. It takes me so long and it becomes a daunting task. Started using AI, hoping it would cut my time down, but I spend longer correcting it. Yeah, I haven't tested out these AI listers, just from people that I've spoke to. For me, like, it just sounds like it's not worth paying for at all.
There's a new one. Sorry to interrupt. There's a new one this morning by Tap Peddler. He talked to me about this when I saw him at the Open. Tat Lister. And he says, new AI eBay lister, www.tatlister.co.uk. Derek, you need to promote us for this video, by the way. Tatlister.co.uk, 23 credits using code TAPPEDLER. Enjoy. And this is something I wanted to speak about, Nick, as well. I'm feeling with my ambitious growth next year, I might have to dip into AI listing tools, because the listing goal increases in Q2 and Q3 and Q4. And it increases, like, not dramatically, but I'm talking about an extra 3 or 4 listings a day. And so I might have to start looking into AI listing tools. But I'm the same as Luke. First of all, I've never used one, so I can't comment. But what I've seen with people using it, like Nick's saying there, you spend more time correcting it than it would for you to do the listings. So hopefully 2026 they get better, and I'm sure they will. With AI improvements, I think they're going to get even better.
I think just the speed you're able to do it. If you don't sell similar, if you've got your own little routine that you do, I used to use templates. But even now with, say, like ChatGPT, like you can build a listing in terms of like curate it so that it gives you the title. And then eBay is so smart at the minute. Like you said many times, that the item specifics are pretty much bang on every single time. So just use the drop downs, and then paying 50, 60 pence a listing and having to like correct and stuff like that. Yeah, if you're listing quite a few, then it definitely mounts up. So yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on it at the minute, until my mind is definitely changed. But yeah, selling similar for me is the way.
I might try just to shout out Derek as well, I might try Tat Lister, because I said I haven't tried one. And when he was speaking to me at the Open, he was speaking about some of the stuff the others struggle with compared to that. So yeah, I might give it a go actually.
Yeah, Scottish Seller, do you pay for ChatGPT for researching items? Well, I think we both have the, what plan is it? Is it 15 quid or 30?
I think it's $20 a month. But I think it's my best subscription that I have.
Oh.
It's better than Netflix. But I use it every single day, not just for eBay, for YouTube, life advice. Yeah, I think it's great. There's other ones out there. Some people use Claude, which is meant to be pretty good. Gemini's pretty good. But again, it's not perfect. Don't trust everything chat tells you. There was some stuff yesterday where I was like, are you sure about this? Think about that again. And it'll go, oh yeah, you're absolutely right. I got it wrong. So yeah, don't take everything as gospel, but I think it's great.
I was saying to you, I was like, I need it to be super critical and like, if anything, harsh. And you was like, go into the settings, change it to this. I'm like, mate, what is this? So wait, is it lying to me? Because I'm going on about, I'm pinging in thumbnails and it's going, yeah, like bang on. And I'm like, but what about this? And then it's going, yeah, you know what, you're right. I'm like, I don't need that.
Yeah,
I need you to say, look,
make it critical, and it's great. It literally like argues with me now.
Yeah. I thought it was really good when I told it that, because then it was like, look, like you should be tweaking this, you should be doing that. And I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. Because if I'm speaking to someone, I want them to like arse-lick you and just say that this is unreal. I'm like, no, like this surely this has to change because of that. And I'm like, yeah, this is bang on now. Convinced consistency is the key to success. Yeah, I mean, when you have like massive spells of just like getting on it and that, it always pays back, I think. Always.
But that Simon's spot on, and lots of people have been saying that. And even within the group the other day, people share their numbers from the month before on the graphs and stuff. And there's people in there who are close to now like hitting 1 million in sales, and there's people who have come in, and last year they were doing like 15k on their year, and now they're up to nearly 100k. And the question's always like, give everyone some advice and give everyone a tip about what you do. And they're like, there's no magic trick. They're like, I was just more consistent this year. Every day I've just done it with no excuses. And you can see like the growth, and everyone gives the same answer. It's just consistency. And that's something that Simon has been super good at. And sometimes I've said to Simon, like, why are you stressing about it? Like, one day is not going to matter. Don't stress about it. Sometimes, no, it needs to go up. Even after the eBay Open, yeah, we're having breakfast at the hotel, and Simon's like, I'm going to go back and do my listings. I went, I'm going to go back and chill out, Simon. Like, what are you doing? Like, it's one day. Don't worry about it. Someone's like, no, I'm going to. And he goes home and gets them up, and I go home and lie on the sofa like a slob. So there's the difference. But look at Simon's business in the last 12 months and how it's grown. And that is it. It's consistency.
Yeah, and he'll definitely speak highly of all the changes that he's made. And I mean, he was very at it already, but then when kind of shit hit the fan and he knew that there needed to be a big change, no excuses. YouTube pretty much not like fully dropped, still getting videos out like that, but it's just the focus was on the kind of money maker, the stuff that's going to keep a roof over your head, bills paid, everything like that. Full focus on that. No like mucking about. It's paid dividends. Sarah, I've been focusing on working around 70. What? 75 to 80% profit margins. Hope to continue keeping those margins while still growing it. That's ridiculous.
But it can be done if you source the right stuff, I guess.
Can't imagine a business on that. Jesus Christ.
Also, like, Sarah, let us know, like, are you promoting? Because I know a lot
oh, come on.
Lots of people now have turned off promotion completely and are still doing tremendously well. But yeah, we're not going down the promoting route. Do you offer free postage? Do you pay returns? Or
please,
no,
like, just don't.
Do you have a pension, Sarah? Let us
know. She loves pensions as well. I
know.
Yeah, she was a massive contributor to that chat as well. It's epic. I talked about Lucy. I talked about goals in my live stream Monday. My main goal is to get the shed up and organized first and foremost. So yeah, I think she said earlier, sorry I didn't bring it up, Lucy, about her death pile as well. So she's getting a lot of stuff sorted. Secondhand and branded, so both non-accountable. I have no idea what we're on about. Yeah. What was that for?
I don't know. Both non-accountable. Yeah, both non-accountable.
Please expand. Mad Fade, Xander's in. Have you ever thought about writing a weekly rota or plan and sticking to it? Helps massively with consistency. Now, Xander, like, I've been this huge proponent of, like, I need everything, like, on a plan, even like down to my Google Calendar, phone linked with my laptop and everything, and then down to a T where I'm doing certain tasks at certain times. For me, it was just like, I don't know, it just ended up not working. How obsessed was I about having the perfect plan? And I would message James going, I've smashed it. This is the plan. I'm going to get up. I go to gym at this time. I source at this time. I picture and list at this time. I come back. I like make my lunch, prep for the following day, all this kind of stuff. And then it just goes out the window. If sourcing drags a bit, if this takes a little bit longer, if something pops up, it just kills everything. But yeah, I don't know. Have you ever had that in your head where you're just like, this is going to be
me and Luke can make a plan to make the plan to make the plan. Work that one out. Like, the amount of plans I've made and the amount of schedules another one. Yeah, the amount of schedules I've made where it's like, right, alarm goes off at 5:15 you're down the shed, 5:27 you're making your first coffee, 5:42 you're doing your first set of photos, 7 p.m. you're back in at home, 7:36 all the listens need to be done, 7:30 like 8 you put your shoes up. Like, I've done the plan.
Put your shoes
honestly, it lasts a couple of days and then you forget you've done the plan. So it's just doing the stuff. And Luke's right, it doesn't matter when it gets done. Lots of people list late at night. Lots of people list first thing in the morning. People are convinced that if you get your listings up by 8 o'clock, you're going to have the best day. People are convinced that it's best to list at 7 p.m. because, that's when people get home. People are convinced if you accept an offer early, you have the best day on eBay. People are convinced that, like, there's so many. This is what I said about earlier with regards to gurus. There's so many different people with different ideas. I'm now just going to stick to one idea and one thing. And I don't want to be the person coming on saying to people, you need to do your listings at 8 in the morning. Like, because they don't know, truthfully. Unless eBay comes out and says, if you want a really good day on eBay, you need to list by 7:32 in the morning. You need to wear your Primark bean stained t-shirt. I have to get it in because I know people like it when I say that. And you have to accept every single offer that comes through. Because that's another thing I've been hearing recently. People are saying that they accept every offer. That's not the truth. And for the people who are saying that, let me know your eBay store, because I'll go and offer £1 on all of your items and see if you accept every offer. So you don't accept every offer, but you accept every reasonable offer, which of course makes sense. So yeah, I don't know. With regards to the list, I don't think it matters. It's that consistency again. The word consistency keeps popping up, doesn't it? Mate, how consistent are you on a scale of 1 to like consistent? Where do you sit?
Me.
By the way, hockey fans going to hate this because I'm talking too much, but I don't care. On a scale of 0 to I'm 100% consistent, where's Luke?
6, 7 max.
Okay. Yeah, it's a lot higher than me.
Yeah, it's like listings and all that. But the thing is, what we're saying about this, a whole like rotor and calendar and schedule and all that. I sat down on my sofa and I got the laptop out, I got Google Calendar out, and I put all like pretty much the majority of the elements in my life in a calendar. And I sat back and I went, that's perfect. That has everything. I'm going
Was
to
the Toby Carvery last night in there though?
nah.
Oh,
See
that's
what I
just
mean?
an extra.
See what I mean by distractions. The email pops up, it goes bang, £6 carvery. You can't even get a ribeye steak for £6. And it goes
Tuesday
right.
night Toby Carvery is wild, by the way.
Yeah, so visit it. We went to see my granddad in the care home, and then after that, I was like, "Oh, I got the email. Should we just go there?" Like, do you know what I mean? But anyway, I thought it was planned out. It was perfect, and then all of a sudden, I want to meet the person who does that what I did, and then sticks to it for like even like a week. You're like, right, this is what I'm doing at this time. I'm adamant, and I spent ages, mate. I mean, I'm talking like hours creating this thing, and I'm like, right, I'm going to the gym when it's not busy. I'm coming back. I'm listing at this time when there's the majority of like buyers being on. Like, yeah, I just thought like, oh, it's planned out, but just getting the jobs done whenever it gets done, as long as you get it done. To me now, I'm way more in that space. And there was someone who put something up, but yeah, if you had any more
And
on
you're,
that.
and you're right, getting the job's done. But the trouble is, and we've both spoke about it before, sometimes you need to do things in a certain way. I agree with that aspect. Because we've said before, doing YouTube after you've done a full day of eBay, it's really hard to switch your mindset into like, I'm in the YouTube zone. So we spoke before about doing the YouTube before the eBay, because the eBay is very much like a mundane processing task. Forget sourcing, sourcing's a different level. When you've got the stuff there, like doing photos and doing listings is like admin effectively, isn't it?
Yeah, I even had, that's why I drink water so much on this as well. I even had like finish a 2 litre bottle of water before the end of the podcast.
That's
What,
obsessive, see. You're
what,
obsessed, and that's what you need to be.
like,
There we are. Richard sums it up perfectly. I know you're going to catch on other things. Don't overthink it. Just get it listed. 100%. List it. It sells. Lesson over. And it's so true. I spoke about this Richard last week. By the way, Richard is Derek's brother. So Tat Lister. He hasn't sponsored the podcast, but he's getting free sponsorship. But it's so true. I said last week, I overcomplicate reselling. And that slows you down. And he's right. Don't overthink it. Just list it.
you said that, and this connected with a lot of people, that it's not complicated. The platform just make it complicated.
I didn't say that. I'm not taking credit for it. Someone else said that.
Well, either way, it came out of your mouth, and it did.
Jenny, Limelight, that Limelight Vinty said it. Jenny, give her a shout out. And yeah, she was spot on. The platforms make it complicated. I don't want to keep skipping, but Sarah also said there, Luke, as well, with regards to it. I have a pension, of course. I don't promote. I'm coming away from eBay. I pay for Spotlight and Vinted twice a month, and that's it. So she hasn't got the complications of eBay in order promoting, not promoting, co-funded coupons, normal coupons, all the rest of it. She's just like, I list it on Vinted for £60. I pay £5 for it. It sells for £60. It hasn't been spotlighted. I've got £60 coming into my bank account. That's the only complication. Is how do I withdraw that money? And I've got to wait 2 days if you're on a private account, or I've got to wait 2 weeks once it's delivered if you're on a pro account. The only complication is, when does that money hit? And now tracking on Vinted's harder, correct? But sometimes it's very much like, I pay £5, it's sold for £60, £60 to reinvest into new stock. That's it.
This is so funny.
It's easy. We worked out reselling. Everyone can leave the podcast now because we've just solved reselling for everyone. So everyone go and make $1 million next year.
It's important to have time away. The keys to lock in when you're working. And I've massively it's probably the last year and a half when before that I was like a robot. You can probably agree to that, where just everything is just work. And all of a sudden, like, reconnected with like old friends, seeing my family a lot more. Me and the missus going away, and my life is so much better now. So when I'm away, like now, when we go away, there's no thoughts about any of this, and it's like proper good time away, like time spent with like proper good people. But when I'm here, like that's what you're saying, locking in when you're actually here, and there's no
second line is important, yeah. So I would have the first part, important to have time away. I'd have plenty of that. Plenty of time not away, plenty of time not doing the work.
What about locking in?
But then when the lock-in came, I would have plenty of time from locking in doing the work. Rob's nailed it there, hit it on the head. It is important to have like time away from the reselling game, but as long as you've earned that time away by actually doing the work when you're meant to be doing the work. And I was taking time away from the reselling game when I was meant to be doing the work.
Rob, you've killed it. Cheltenham Vintage Toys, Lee. I think the obsession comes from why you're doing this. Why do you need to make the money? And then that is the driving force behind it. That's what I'm trying to constantly say. Like, why do I need to get to, I don't know, 15 a day? Why do I need to get to 20? Why do I need to get to? I'm starting to ask that a little bit more. I'm finding that at the minute where I'm at with, in terms of the listings and how it fits around my life. I spoke about this before, not kind of going back into a schedule, but it works well for me at the minute. But I do realize that I do need to definitely up it to give me more options.
Lee's made a great point here. Do you think keeping a roof over your head is a big enough why?
That's stress.
On paper, it sounds like a huge why, but I never think about that aspect in a weird way. I think more about paying the bills and not losing sleep because of money compared to thinking about what happens if the house gets repossessed. But surely, like, when you have a mortgage, or even if you're renting, like, surely keeping yourself under a roof should be the why, and that should be enough for everyone.
I know, but we just talking about just like covering it or just keeping it, like, because a thing with me, like, if it was just sorting that out, to me, that's far too much stress.
And that's where I fell into, where I'm talking about like the obsession and coasting. Like this year, we've never come close to not paying the mortgage and not paying the bills. Like, not once have I ever said to Leanne, like, oh shit, like we're in trouble. Like, not once. But we've also, like, I've also never had the month where I'm like, we can afford to pay next month's as well. I want to be in that position. I want to say to Leanne, okay, in the bank, we've got the next 6 months mortgage covered. So if one of us was to get ill, if I couldn't work for the next 2 months, we're good. So we've got no stress. If I was to get ill and couldn't work for the next month, we're in big trouble. And that's the difference. So, yeah.
It's that thing as well. It's like just hitting the listing goal, like, it's that buffer, mate. It makes me feel a lot more stress-free. If I've got buffer with my listings, if I've got buffer with money coming in, like, yeah, it's just that kind of sense of security. Because at the end of the day, if I go down injured or if I go down seriously ill, then I need that buffer, because essentially it all relies on me. It's like, and a lot of us here, unless you've got like employees and stuff like that, but I go down, there's no like none of this like sick pay or anything like that. It's like, that's why for me, I feel like a week's draft bank is nice. 2 weeks is the absolute dream. And I know some people will say that there's listings in your draft bank, you know, there's money sitting there, it's not out there working for you, you can't bring it back in, etc., etc. I value the hell out of a draft bank. I work 50 hours plus in my full-time job. I've done nearly 20k turnover part-time on eBay only. I've been selling a year. When does the focus switch, eBay or full-time job?
For me, it's the impossible answer. And people like message this a lot of the time. When I was like, for me, I went straight into full-time, but because I was in a position of being made redundant where I had money behind me. A lot of people talk about have 6 months money behind you. A lot of people say a year's money behind you. A lot of people say just go for it. If you're doing that well at the moment, like, imagine if you're putting full-time effort. For me, there's no answer because everyone's situation is different. Like, I'll give you an example. Okay, if you're 17, 18, just starting out and you're living at home and you have your phone bill to pay and your parents charge you £100 rent, then 100% you should go for this full-time straight away, in my opinion, because you haven't got that responsibility where, I don't know, if you're living in central London and every month you have to pay $3,000, $4,000 just to pay for your flat, and your full-time job covers it and the side hustle is a bit of play money, then my advice would be probably stick at your full-time job until you've got maybe a year's worth of savings, because with this job, it's very much up and down. Even for the people who are 100% consistent, you'll hear they'll have some dips in the year where sales aren't as good as they have been. So, yeah, that's my opinion. It's very hard to answer. Some people will say, do it, like, quit today and do it. Other people will say, get some, like, serious money behind you for the down days.
I get terrified with this question, not gonna lie. It's so, is it subjective? Like, it's so on your situation, and it comes down a lot of it to, yeah, say if you're living with your parents, or if you got a family, you got kids, you got mortgage, all that kind of stuff, the risk levels just go up and up and up. Most of the time, the further down the line you are with all of that kind of stuff. Like, luckily for me, I was still living with my parents for a good, like, I think year or two when I first started this. So I had a little bit of buffer to figure it out. Because in that first year, you're figuring everything out. I'd probably say for me, like, it's when it started getting interesting, we was year two, and then building up nicely from there. But I managed to, save a fair bit and then move out. That's what I mean. My situation was massively different, just like yours. Like, you was thrown into it a little bit as well. So yeah, matching the income from a full-time job, or like some people, they've saved up 6 months to a year worth of like expenses. There's so many different ways, but I feel incredibly uncomfortable because the amount of effort required to do this full time. And we're only in like a two-bed flat down in Hertfordshire, incredibly expensive, even for just like living here. So yeah, just putting yourself in the most comfortable position. It's like what I was speaking about, the whole buffer thing. I would need incredible amounts of buffer just to like, and I'd need to know that it's, I can definitely do it. So, and treating it like a full-time job, mate, is probably the biggest one for me. Because I mean, when it's your baby as well, for me, I enjoy it and it's my little baby. So I want the business to do well and I like doing it. So if you haven't got that, if there's no real passion around it and you're just going into reselling because you think you can make money in it, there's no chance that that's going to work. I don't think anyway.
Also, not that this came from, like, I've spoken many times, like Nick and George were the two people I really started to watch before I was even thinking about doing this full time, before I even knew it was a thing. And they always spoke honestly about what reselling looks like, where it's not every day is like an amazing day. And that for me was really good. But just be careful of like the highlight reels you see. Because if you go on Instagram, no one's going to put up the story today that says no sales day. If you have a no sales day, by the way, you watch the podcast, please post a story today saying no sales day. Like, not many people are going to do that. But you better believe if someone sells an item today for £200 that they bought from the car boot for £1, that'll be appearing on Instagram story today. I've done it. Loads of people do it. And you can scroll Instagram and you can see someone show off today's sales of £500 and they've only spent £60 on all the stock. And in your head, you can say like, wow, I could do that. And that's every day. But what you're not seeing is tomorrow they don't post a story on Instagram. The day after they don't post a story on Instagram because they've had less sales or it hasn't been a £500 day. So yeah, just be really careful of kind of seeing like the highlights as the like guaranteed every day, because believe us, every day is not a highlight reel. And I would tell you, but it's not.
Yeah, in terms of like lifestyle as well, I used to go city breaks all the time, like week-long, all-inclusive holidays, and I stripped all of that back pretty much in order to just be even more secure in this. So a lot of lifestyle stuff comes into it as well. And I think Xander was saying there, like, of course, it depends on your outgoings. Outgoings is massive for this, I think, as well. I'm not materialistic one bit. I sell clothing. I'm not passionate really about clothing. For me, it's just like a vehicle in order to get money, but I just enjoy the whole business, eBay side of things. So yeah, outgoings is huge.
Also, to finish up on that one as well, situation's huge, because Jordan, who I mentioned earlier, the Amazon guy, my friend, well, I say he's my friend, he's not my cousin, but he's been saying to me, like, oh, I want to do Amazon full time. And like, if I was doing it full time, I'd also dip into eBay a little bit. And I'm in a job at the moment and, this is more exciting to me. And I've told him the same advice. He's looking potentially at buying property within the next year or so. And I said to him, do not do anything until you've got your property. And then once you've got your property, find out whether you can afford to live on just the Amazon money at the moment. And if you can't, keep building up the Amazon until you can afford to live on it, and then make your decision from there. But in the meantime, stack all of that money in your bank account towards getting your property, getting your foot on the property ladder, and then make the choice. Because if he was to leave his full-time job today, and he thinks the same, he's like, I'm only doing this part-time. Imagine I was doing full-time. Like, what does that look like? And he's correct. But also, his situation right now, I've encouraged him to stay in that full-time job and just do this as a side hustle. 20 grand in a year doing it as a side hustle alongside your normal job is amazing money. Amazing money. Just stack that money in your bank account, put it towards your house. Like, that's a great place to be. And if you can do it alongside a full-time job, like 100% do it alongside a full-time job. So yeah, I've said to him, just stay where you are right now, and then you'll know when the time's right. You get that feeling where you're like, do you know what? I can do this like 100%, and I've got a bit of buffer. And like I said, some people will say a month, some people will say 5 years worth of money in the bank account. You need to decide what works for you.
Yeah. And we spoke about it before, like an amazing spot to be is to love your full-time job and then like have this on the side and you've got like a mini passion for it, or just a real good money maker. Genuine versus Gen AI. What are your thoughts on using cross-list? So using cross-list and stuff, I don't personally, because I don't sell on anything else. But yeah, I see why people use it. I think, which one do you use, James?
I use Accelerate. I mean, there's lots out there. There's Crosslist, there's Zipsell, there's I think List Perfect, maybe not. I don't know. There's so many. I use Accelerator, and the reason being is it's just what I've always used, and it does the job I need it to do. I think Crosslist, I could probably do some more stuff, but there's also some stuff on Crosslist that isn't perfect as well. So yeah, try them all if cross-listing is what you want to do. Personally, I'm glad I cross-list. And if you go back to the early podcast, I was very anti-cross-listing. But Vinted for me is a game changer. I love Vinted right now. So yeah, I think try them all. I think most of them do free trials. I think you can probably find codes on people's YouTube videos as well, where people promote with like Crosslist and Zipsale and Seller, Ada, and Sarah saying Crosslist Magic.
Never heard of that one.
Yeah, just try them all and just see what works for you, your process, your setup, and you'll find what works.
This is going back to the AI stuff. I think it's probably the Crosslist one where I created 800 listings in 1 month with AI.
Yeah, that's with I think he uses, what's the one Carboot Chris uses?
Monster List or
something
like
List
that.
AI, yeah, I think he uses that.
And then you've got the completely opposite perspective. I've stopped using AI. I don't know whether that was AI in general, Xander. I'm guessing it's like the cross-listing.
Maybe for his thumbnails. He was showing me some of the ChatGPT is not great with AI thumbnails when your face is involved. It's changed my face dramatically, and it changed his face even worse than mine. So yeah.
Not good as accountability partners. I don't think we can please Secondhand and Brandy because
but we're not. But it's not good accountability.
It's true.
If I'm saying to Luke, "Oh, all right, mate, fair enough, no stress, just do it next week," like that's no good for him. This is why I told him, and I've done the same. Change your Chat GPT settings, because if I said, "Chat, oh, I'm really struggling today. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of the video I promised." The old chat would say, "Oh, no worries, mate. Life is hard. There's always next week. Don't beat yourself up." I want the thing as like, you've committed to this. You're letting everyone down, including yourself. Go and make the video. I want that kind of conversation. Not, "Oh, it's all right, mate." Like,
that's why I said to you, like, how do I change this, mate? Because it's just agreeing with everything I'm saying. Yeah. This was our first full year. What was that?
I said we're not good accountability partners, but I'm okay with that. I don't want one right now. My accountability partner is sitting in this chair right now.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying to you. It's like, I mean, I can't even remember when we tried it. This must have been ages ago now. But yeah, not the best. So yeah, I'll give you that one, Secondhand and Branded. This was our first full year on eBay. A lot of mistakes were made. We're on course for 14K. I'm sure 30K is realistic for 2026. Making a big.
I think it is, Dan, for you. I think if it's your first full year on eBay and you've made 14K, and the most important thing you put there is a lot of mistakes were made. Every single business makes mistakes. I think the key is you've recognized you've made mistakes and you've learned from them. So yeah, push yourself. 30K, and look, if you was to finish on 25K, that's still a good increase. So yeah, I encourage you, mate, to push yourself. And well done your first year on course of 14K. That's a great year.
It's nice. Yeah, no, I agree with you. A lot of mistakes were made. That's what I mean. Every year that goes by, it's going to compound with, the good habits and increasing your brand knowledge or whatever niche you're in. You're going to get better. So yeah, good luck to you.
And mistakes will still get made, down, by the way.
Always.
It doesn't stop on year one.
Doesn't stop on year 3, year 4, year 5, I guess. Welcome to come up to Yorkshire for your crime channel, show you around Yorkshire, Ripper areas, grim story, but maybe of interest.
Yeah, Mike, that sounds cool. Drop me a message because for the crime channel next year, I do want to go. I don't just want to record the videos here. I want to go out a bit more. I actually still want to do, and it's not really crime, but it's kind of linked. I still want to do like an abandoned place and go with the camera, like where it's haunted and stuff. Do you want to come with me, Luke?
No.
Come on, that'd be good content.
What, go into a haunted place?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, but like, good content. Like what was that program? Most Haunted. Do you remember that with the weird guy?
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing.
That for me is that's absolutely terrifying.
Yeah, drop me a message. I do want to do more stuff next year. For sure.
Simon is a benchmark for being consistent, great role model for all of us. Yeah, I 100% agree. It's very inspirational watching his videos, and then obviously seeing him go live on weekends and stuff like that. He's definitely getting after it.
Yeah, no, he has inspired me. If
you spent hours creating the timetable, I'm guessing that's the rota that I was talking about, sticking to it is your reward. Definitely. If I'd have stuck to that, Jesus Christ. But that's what we're talking about. We're pretty useless when it comes to sticking to it. But that's why when I was talking about in the beginning, the whole flexibility of this as well, it's just like, I can't remember who said it. They said it very simply, just like it always needs to be said. It's like, oh, it just needs to be listed. So just crack on with it.
My reward, though, is when you go in Tesco's and the steak is on sale. That for me is the reward, because steak at the moment is like £7, £8 for a steak. When did that change?
No, it used to be like for a ribeye, because I've always kept tabs on that because I absolutely love ribeye steak, and it was like £5, and now it's like you can't get it for less than £7.
Little steak better than Tesco steak, just saying.
Jesus, it does my nutting. Don't rely on I'll work harder when I have a child. Without an inconsistency, James, yes, you will get a little better, but the barriers are still there to start the day, etc. Get it in place now.
100%. 100%. And the good, okay, so where we are a little bit lucky, Leanne's job, she's a private nanny. And she's been that since school. So she has lots of experience with raising children as young as like newborn, like to now she's looking after a couple of teenagers who one of them like recorded a video the other day, and he was like, just to let you know, Arsenal's going to bottle the league. And I was like, who does he support? She's like, Man City. I was like, this guy's never been to Manchester in his life. Like glory hunter. But yeah, so she's had experience with that. And the other thing I spoke about as well is I'm very much a case of, and I say this now without children, by the way. So there's no way I'm saying this is nailed on, because you parents out there are probably laughing when I say this. But I'm very much like, I'll just get it done anytime I can. And like being in a group where obviously there's lots of people in America and there's Zoom rooms and stuff, I'm happy to hop in. So the other day I was like, I'll just have the baby here and just do my listings on the laptop. And someone's like, you do not have the foggiest. You can't just have the baby here and do your listings. It doesn't work as plain and simple as that. So, yeah, we'll see. But I agree with what you're saying in the sense of, like, get the shit together now. So when that happens, then... and by the way, we're not pregnant yet, so it might not ever happen, but touch wood, it does.
Yeah. Draft Bank is wasted stock. Yeah, I mean, loads of people have different opinions about that. That's what I was saying earlier, that some people in the chat will literally be like, you know, you've got a lot of stuff sitting there in the draft bank, rather than, in my head, I value that kind of buffer in terms of like the daily listings, but being stretched out over like a week, 2 weeks. But yeah, those people are gonna have that opinion. So
I'm getting the pelters about it doesn't work like that when it comes to kids. I know.
yeah, that's what I mean. The parents are going to gun you down.
Yeah, it's all right. Parents come for me. It's fine.
I think we overthink it. If you go down, you still have tons of listings on your store that will still bring you revenue in. How often do items sell instantly for use?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. Luke might want to go into it, but he was saying now he's changed his promotion thing where he doesn't promote straight away. He found out the way to do it, or people helped him find out the way. Hunley as well messaged me with an idea, and I think that helped as well. So thanks, Hunley. But Luke's noticing now how much stuff is selling before it's even promoted. And this is what I've been saying for a while, and even on Vinted as well. So it's crazy the amount of stuff that when you list, it does sell straight away. But you're right, Scotty Seller. How much stuff do we list that has been on the store for a year or 2 years that has never sold? So how active are we getting rid of that stuff? And you and Simon are a lot more active than me with regards to going through the older stuff and delisting it and selling similar and changing things to try and get it to shift. And Simon was saying it's amazing the amount of stuff where he's doing that on that is now selling within the store, like the early SKU numbers. So yeah, store management's huge.
My partner and I had no choice but to go full time because of medical reasons. We both have so many hospital appointments, it wouldn't work with an employer. eBay is so flexible for situations like that. The amount of times, mate, where I could literally like drop everything and just go and sort out an emergency. And that is so, and don't get me wrong, like loads of employers will literally be like, no, family comes first or this comes first, go. Like, but I don't know, mate, the flexibility of it, I like bang on about it so much, but the ability, and that's why the buffer is important to me. So if there is a nice buffer in place, then you don't feel as guilty. But at the end of the day, an emergency is an emergency. You just bolt. So
yeah, and do you know what someone described it as the other day? It's not even a case of like employees will let you go and do things, and I agree. Lots of employees will let you in an emergency, of course they'll let you go, but you haven't got to ring them up later on, or call them up the next day, or say there's a follow-up appointment to that. Like when you work for yourself, you can say, yeah, I can just do that. Like even with the IVF stuff, yeah, like me and Leanne are doing, like her parents, I say her parents, not her parents, but the family she works for, they are so supportive. And they said, we understand what you guys are going through. Like if you need, because sometimes with the IVF stuff, what we've been told is they will ring Leanne and say, we need you in tomorrow. And it can be like that. Now, luckily, she's got supportive people. Other people, if you had a workplace, they'll be like, well, we can't. We've got a big day on tomorrow, blah, blah, blah. And so, and with me, I said to Leanne, nothing is more important. Like, even if it's 8 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, like, that's more important. Do you know what I mean? So I haven't got to ring up anyone and say, oh, could I get some time? You just go and do it. So, and then what Dan's saying there about being forced into it, sometimes that is the best place as well. I was forced into this by being made redundant. At the time, it was scary as shit. But sometimes if your arm's twisted a bit and you are forced into it, it does make you work harder.
That's what I mean. There's so many different situations. Like it would open, like, I mean, if I would ask everyone in here, like, how did you get into this? I mean, it's gonna be so, the vast differences will be insane. The Secret Card was saying, I'm very lucky. The wife earns enough to pay all the bills, so eBay is just extra, but I do put 100% effort in.
That's great. Yeah,
that's what I mean. It's like that one side of it is covered, so everything's covered, and this is like, how do I go about this? Like, but he's going 100%, so beautiful. I went straight to full time and wouldn't recommend it. Trying to pull out a full wage from day one is bad news. You end up drawing more than the profit and can't afford to scale. If I'd have gone all in on this, like say, I don't know, say I moved into the flat and then I went all in on it, but it was like year one, Jesus Christ, I'd be in a state, I think.
Yeah, he's spot on.
That's me though. Some people could probably pull it off and pull it off really, really well and have an amazing life, amazing business. But for me, learning on the job as well, I'm still learning now, obviously, but yeah, it would have been a struggle. Had to pop in live as I'm a night owl.
Can't 9:20 a.m. and he's just woke up.
Criminal, absolute criminal. Luke Coe sitting here with my oh god, he wins. We had with Dalglish with, I think.
We got a 1 week old watching the podcast. And Luke, tell me, it's easy to get your listens up, yeah?
I bet it's crazy. 1 week. Oh, congratulations! Because then I think Dalglish noticed Luke. It definitely does. Sorry, I didn't quite read the full comment. Watching you guys, I've not managed to find the time yet, but it will get easier. And then Dalglish said, it definitely does. I'm 1 year in, my first child. They don't get any easier. They don't get any easier after a year.
You know what? I say to Leanne all the time as well, because she's like, like when the baby's born and stuff, like for a couple of weeks, like I want to take time off anyway, don't get me wrong. But in my head, I said, oh yeah, but I could just put it in one of them, like, like the baby carriers you buy down the car boot and just go down the garage and do the photos and do it that way. She's like, you can't. Like, what are you going on about? But that's in my head. Like, I'm like, yeah, just do that. And like, take it to me and Jamie Dodger were speaking the other day about And again, I'm talking like we're pregnant and all this shit. We're not, but we were talking about in the future. I was like, yeah, we'll just bring the kids to the car boot sales. And he was like, yeah. But I'm thinking like they're not going to want to come to the car. They want to go to a park, not a car boot sale. But yeah, you have to find the way, and everyone does it differently. And Luke, congratulations, by the way, with a year-old as well. So yeah, wishing you all the best, mate.
Wow, 1 week. Sarah, my sell-through rate is about 110% at the moment. Drop my stock levels to below 350. Oh god, I'd love a store like that.
110% is just the best. I love when it's over 100%. It's so good.
That is ridiculous. Sounds like you've got a great business. Was it 75, 80% profit margins, 110% sell-through? Just killing it. Well done. I don't know how we would manage without eBay. It gives me so much flexibility. And yeah, whether that's eBay, Vinted, all the other platforms out there.
Take it for granted sometimes, don't we?
Definitely. I mean, you had a situation. I don't know if you want to go into it or whatever. We've already brought it up now.
I don't know which one. I've had many situations, mate. I don't know where he's going with this, guys. Strap in.
It was I was losing it, wasn't I, about a GSP return, full size.
Oh,
and we lose it about this, about certain like negative aspects. And we forget about everything else. We forget about all this stuff we spoke about because we're losing it in the moment. And I did lose my head a little bit, but it's because I was like, I'm not in the wrong one bit here. And then I think you had a similar situation.
I've had one GSP sale. Okay, I'll talk about it briefly. Yeah, this year we've had one GSP sale that did not go my way. So the customer receives the item from in New Zealand, opens up an item not described. Although the measurements are on the photos, it's described perfectly. Rang eBay, and eBay like, you've got to pay for the postage label. Okay, the net on the item was like £58. Again, talking about net. The postage label was going to cost me about £65. eBay's response is you need to pay for the postage label, get it back, and then you won't lose out because you can resell it. Well, no, you're not understanding here. So in the end, I just refunded the customer in full and lost that money. But then my head's in like a tailwind and eBay, and I'm like, one sale that hasn't gone your way this year on GSP, one sale out of all the ones that have gone through perfectly. But your head goes, you're like, that's just like, fucking hell, just move on. Like, so after I ranted to you on the phone yesterday, I was fine after that. I was just like, who cares? It's one sale. He's muted, everyone. Amateur on the podcast.
Oh god, what's going into it then? Yeah, I tend to be quite neutral about stuff, but I had my moment, didn't I? I was voice noting you. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, I didn't do anything. You know, when you're like, I didn't do anything, and I'm not being backed. Like, this ain't a rant, and it's not another rant about eBay or the whole returns thing or whatever. But I said to you, I was like, why?
Grant sales soon. I love eBay. eBay, if you're watching this.
When the grants are coming out.
eBay, please. 10 grand.
Yeah, I was like, why can't we just speak to we can speak to a human. That's a good thing about it. But when it comes to that stuff, item not described for the GSP stuff, why can't we speak, explain the situation, look at the evidence, and then determine it there and then, rather than forking out and then trying to get the credit back 30 days later? It's so much hassle.
But eBay made a good point, which frustrated me more. They went, "What? We wouldn't want to call you a liar." And I went, "Well, good. I wouldn't expect you to call me a liar." They go, "But would it be fair to call the buyer a liar?" And I'm like,
"Ooh,
oh yeah, you're right.
You done me there.
You're right, because I think I've described it perfectly. I've shown all the measurements, but is the buyer a liar? Like, your head straight away goes to like they're trying to like do you over. But is it fair? So yeah, in the end, I was just like, it's fine. I'll rant to Luke instead for half an hour on the phone.
Yeah, we'll just rant to each other. Yeah, and you've come in right at the end. 8 a.m. Leanne, but yeah, lovely to see you in anyway. But yeah, I think that's pretty much. I didn't even go into.
It is about you.
I know.
I talk too much. Hockey's going to be fuming.
He is going to be livid.
Just confirm, Hockey. I still promote at 5%, and Luke, you still promote at 8%. Is it?
Drops it down to 5.
5 now. So there's the update on the weekly. What do we promote at? Couple of things I want to talk about. Saturday is the Bold Clobber Christmas party. Yeah. The jumper I have is incredible, and I'll be wearing the jumper next week on the podcast as well. But the other announcement is next week is going to be my final podcast on here. Luke knows about it, by the way. I'm not just dropping it in and Luke's going to act all surprised. The reason being is Luke and I have had a massive falling out, and I do not want to spend any more time talking to him about reselling. So, unfortunately, I am leaving the podcast. Next week will be my last episode. And I don't like Luke anymore. So there's the headline. I don't like
finished.
So yeah.
But yeah, I think we don't have to go into it if you don't want to. But...
There's no backstory to it. I just want to put my focus into other things next year. And it's a bit like what I spoke about earlier with regards to like the guru side. I know we don't ever come on the podcast and tell people what to do, but I also want to just go away and listen to people who I want to listen to talk about reselling and not feel like I'm coming on and kind of giving my 2 pence every week. I felt like I've done that for quite a while now. And yeah, I need to put my focus and efforts into my own stuff in a selfish way. So my own channels, the crime channel, the reselling. I mentioned earlier the lofty target I've got. And although it doesn't take a crazy amount of my time, an hour and a half to sit here and chat with Luke, and I love talking to Luke, we can still have them conversations offline as well. So yeah, there's no fallout. There's no backstory. Luke hasn't booted me from the podcast. But I've also said to Luke, I hope he continues the podcast. And I've also said to Luke, I hope he does it with someone else. And I've told him who I want him to do it with. And that's up to Luke to discuss with that person and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, that's it, really. But come to the party on Saturday because Luke's buying all the drinks and I'm going to get absolutely hammered.
First round's on me. But I think I mean, it's funny how like it's turned into like, well, this is a goals episode. And, you know, you've got a crazy goal and you're going to be working as hard as you can to get towards it. I said to you when you came back from Greece.
Yeah, by the way, we'll just add that in. This has not been like an overnight decision. Like I'm not having a bad week and having a breakdown and said to Luke, oh, I'm going to leave the podcast. Like I've been talking about this probably for 3-4 months, potentially. But carry on. Sorry, you said when I come back from Greece.
No, I was just saying that I feel like for you, maybe like locking in terms of like the crime and stuff like that, because I want what's best for you.
Of course.
Like that's the main thing. Like we have these chats offline, and that was the whole point in this in the first place. Is like we have these chats like almost every single day.
Yeah,
why don't we just record it and then build a topic around it? But in order to hit these insane goals and really strive towards it and build these habits and build the consistency and all that side of things, kind of distractions need to be eliminated as much as they can. And this, you might just seem like go live for like an hour and a half of that, but there is more that goes into it. And yeah, from my perspective, it's been unbelievable. Like it's been like a year and a half, probably just over that, and we've had an absolute blast. And it's weird to see where it was and then what it is now, and all these amazing people that we've met. And as people are saying in there as well, come back on as a guest. And
I need to beat Simon's record with guest appearances, by the way.
Yeah, like, and that's going to happen. But
I would love to be able to do that. Like as I said, like, and again, this is not just us playing coy. Like we've not actually had a chat about it. So I said to Luke, I want him to continue the podcast. But I don't want this to be the end of the podcast. I want him to continue because I think, from a selfish point of view, Luke offers like a crazy amount of stuff, and Luke's built his business up to a crazy level. And sometimes I think he's quite blasé about how well he's actually doing. But I listen to people like Luke and learn from him. And that's what I want to do. I want to learn from the people who are absolutely like smashing the game. And when we've had conversations, it's quite good that we do have different thoughts. Like Luke will say something and I do things in a complete different way. And that makes a good conversation. I agree. But yeah, it's really just about, I don't know, I maybe just need to hit a bit of my own selfish state in the sense of like, on a Wednesday, instead of coming into the podcast for an hour and a half, I could be doing my listings while listening to the podcast for an hour and a half, that kind of thing. So I need to kind of lock in for myself next year. Yes, I'll come back on as a guest. It won't be an every week guest episode. You're not getting me roped in like that to say, guest next week is James and guess what, he's on the week after. But I would love to be able to come on and say, remember that crazy 90K goal I set? Like, this is what we've achieved. that kind of thing. So yeah, but there's no fallout. We'll still be doing our collabs at Dunton, which are the best collabs, by the way. And yeah, it just means that people have to come Saturday because it's the end of the Bold Clobber podcast. But next week will be the final episode of my appearance. But I think you're going to do Christmas Eve as well.
Yeah, I'm going to do probably Christmas Eve by myself. So I think that's more of like a selfish thing for me as well, because I've never done a live by myself. Probably like the duo and having two people on here, and then when we have a guest on here, three people, there's a psychological thing about it as well, where when you hear different voices, it keeps you more interacted, and my voice might grain on people, or you might not just like a solo podcast. But I think in that one, I just want to explain where I'm at with my business, where I'm at with the channel, and where it's going to go from there. So it's going to be an explanation about that, and you can pretty much ask me anything as well. It might be a 5-minute video, like, because to be honest, I've never done it.
No, don't get out of that. You do an hour podcast on your own. Don't let get out of this whole thing. We'll 5-minute video.
We'll see, because I mean, to be fair, even with this, like, I don't know if I'm introverted, extroverted. I don't know what it is, but I still get insanely like nervous, even doing this now. Like, it's very, very weird. So the fact of doing it by yourself, but I'll come on it then and I'll explain everything afterwards. But yeah, we're going to do one next week, and maybe that just opens it up to Q&A. Ask anything you possibly want to ask.
Yeah, Q&A episode next week would be quite good, actually, especially with the lead up to Christmas. But yeah, the other thing with podcasts as well and live, you constantly overthink in your head about what happens if I say a word, a line, a sentence wrong. Like, who you're going to end up like annoying and alienating and all this stuff. And it's not by like any like on purpose kind of thing is what I'm trying to say. But even now, thinking about the line I say next is like, well, when you record a video, you might be like, oh, that doesn't hit right. Like, let me edit that part out. So, but mate, I've really enjoyed it. I mean, this started on Instagram, and the first episode was when you left the house and sat on a bench, and you had some old deer come and sit next to you and tell you how handsome you are. So yeah, I'm glad we've grown something, and I'm also glad for your channel that doing the podcast allowed you to start growing your channel with other videos as well. So yeah. So thanks for deleting me off the internet and kicking me off the podcast.
We're falling out, mate. So yeah.
Big fallout. Me and Luke don't like each other. We just do this for you guys. So.
But yeah, like, we hope that you guys have enjoyed all of these episodes every single week. Like I say, it's been going for like a year and a half. But it was a combination really between me speaking to one of my best mates and having chats like this all the time, but we just flicking record, and me 3 or 4 years ago when I first started, and there wasn't really kind of someone even just like a couple of steps ahead maybe that you can kind of learn from a UK perspective, or just take little nuggets, because advice is very like, I'm really funny with that, because I prefer the like, this is how I'm doing things. If you want to take what you want to take from it. That's why, like, when I talk about draft banks or when I talk about other stuff, a lot of people won't agree with it, but maybe you get that little nugget. So that was really what was the whole purpose in this podcast in the first place. But it will continue though. Like, that's what I'm adamant about, because this is improving me from like a social perspective. Like I said about the whole nurse thing, I used to flick it on and my heart would be pounding out my chest. It's a lot better now. But yeah, it's going to continue.
I'll be tuned in. By the way, it's not me going like, oh, I'm not going to watch this podcast. Like, I cannot wait to see where you take this podcast, because I honestly think, whether you do it on yourself or whether you bring someone else in, I think you can take this podcast to a whole new level. And I'm excited to be able to lock in on a Wednesday morning while down the shed doing my photos and coming on being like, oh, I said I was doing 90K. I can't be asked to do my listings today. And you being like, get your listings up, you mug.
Yeah,
like, that's what I want to do. So, yeah. But yeah, come along on Saturday, guys. If you fancy coming out for a few drinks, we're going to be in London, and we'll post something on Instagram anyway for the people who are Instagram followers and stuff. But yeah, we've got quite a fair few people coming along who've said they're going to come. So we'll have a few drinks on Saturday night.
It's going to be amazing, mate. I can't wait. I'm literally buzzing because, like I said on that episode, like that's the thing that you miss, or that's the thing that I miss a lot. So, yeah, if you're coming, please do let me know in advance. Pop us a DM on Instagram, just so that we don't leave any pub or leave any bar, and then we don't know that you're coming in the first place. So, yeah, just pop me a message on that. But appreciate you as always. We're going to be back next week. Probably going to be a Q&A. So much love for all you guys in the live chat. Appreciate anyone watching back on the replay. And yeah, please do drop a like, drop a comment. It helps out the channel massively. And I just love seeing all the little questions that come in afterwards anyway. So yeah, we appreciate you guys.
Sorry, I talk too much as well. Apologies. Peace.
We love it. Bye-bye.